Now, we are not contractors. We are not inspectors. We are not plumbers, electricians. However, I personally have been certified in building trades. So I do know a little bit about the property. Now, I'm not an inspector and I'm not trying to act as one. But when I show a property, I take my flashlight. When I go into a property with my flashlight, the first place I want to go is the basement. I want to go in the basement so I can look around and see if I see any cracks in the foundation. Sometimes the cracks don't mean it's a bad foundation, but I'm trying to see if there's any cracks. I want to look at the electric panel. I want to check the wiring just to look at it. I don't know if it's wired right, really, but I do know if something looks out of place, I'm going to make a note of it and I'm going to mention it to my buyer. I'm also looking for anything that may be growing like mildew or mold anywhere in the basement, and particularly in the floor joist from upstairs if you don't have like a drywall ceiling or maybe even a drop ceiling or tiled ceiling. If I can see the floor joist, I'm going to check the floor joist also with the flashlight so I can see if there's anything growing, so I can see if there's any splits where something may have been sistered. I'm checking the I-beam. I like to see a steel I-beam because that's good support for upstairs. But a lot of older homes, they have wood beams that support upstairs, and some of them work, pretty fine, no problems. But sometimes you might get some unlevelness upstairs. I'm looking at the house in such a way as to find any defects that may prevent you from even submitting an offer, so that you get to inspection period and end up having to pay for an inspection to find out something that we could have easily seen right off the bat. I'm not into clients wasting their money on inspections that we can keep from even having. So that's one thing. But in all actuality, we have a hold harmless agreement that keeps us from liability for something that may come up down the line as far as the part of the property that you purchased, because that's what the inspection period is about. Now, I'm gonna switch back over here and get back to the beginning. One thing that you need to consider and be specifically understanding of is that you are locked in by a legal contract. So you have to be pretty careful about who you sign a contract with. And before you sign a contract, it will behoove you to talk to different agents. A lot of people go with who they're cool with or who they want to see get a commission. And that's not always the best choice. Of course, I always wish that the people who I'm cool with would use me as an agent, but sometimes they don't. And they use other people for their own reasons. However, I'm not exactly sure why, but some people have their own reasons. And maybe I will elaborate in some other video on the things that you should be concerned about with your agent. But I'm going to go up here to the top, and I already went through the purpose, because the agents need to have some type of assurance that you're going to close with them when they get started. And that is what this contract is about. And that's why a lot of agents won't let you out of the contract. And that's why clause number 2 is particularly important. Clause number 2, the term. This agreement shall terminate at midnight on. There's a date